Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar. Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar. Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar.
Ricky, are you okay?
I'm having a stroke. Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar. I keep messing up at the end.
Welcome back, travelers, to Legendary Lore. Ricky's currently trying to introduce the first legend, which is currently the longest name in for a magic card, and it's difficult to pronounce.
Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar. Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar. Forget it.
That's
Everyone
close to how you pronounce the thing here on the screen. Ricky, just tell us about her story.
Everyone calls her Asmora. I'm calling her Asmora. So,
Okay.
The whole idea behind Asmora is that she summoned a Lord of the Pit. This is an old story. And she summons a Lord of the Pit named Vincent. Because obviously, if you're just starting out writing a story about a dark character, the best thing to go with is naming him after Vincent Price. It's a sure win. Only way to do it. It's the best. So, the idea is that she summons this thing, right? Mm-hmm. And Vincent then tells her, hey, where's my food? You're supposed to have an entire feast for me and feed me every turn. Otherwise, I'll smack you upside the head. And so when she tells him, I don't have any food. I am a cook, though. I can do this. He then tells her, make me food for 7 years and 7 days. And she goes, okay, we'll do that. I'll become your...
It's just like having a kid.
I'll be your underworld cook, and we'll do our thing.
Does she have an underworld cookbook?
She actually didn't, Joe. She had to make all her recipes herself. And she compiled those recipes into a limited edition 20-copy underworld cookbook.
She made an underworld cookbook.
She made the underworld cookbook. There's 20 copies of it, which is why it's not legendary, because there's more than just the one.
Yeah.
Now, this thing had stuff like honey-baked breast of granite gargoyle, sautéed beebles, gray ogre toes in a sweet black sauce. Joe, this is what I would be in Pokemon. It's like, oh no, I summoned Giratina. I guess I'll just have to make a cookbook about every Pokemon.
Here's how you eat a Skarmory. It's I want to taste your cooked Skarmory.
It would taste great. I guarantee it. It would be like, it would have
great.
The orange juice kind of thing, so it can like simmer inside of it. The point is,
it would both marinate it and corrode its armor.
When she got done with it, only 2 people bought it at first. Vincent and Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar's mother.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I am too. I had an aneurysm trying to say it just now. So, that all happens. Only those 2 sell at first, but then it gets picked up. And rich people start trying to eat these like very rare delicacies. And so...
Also, is that a reference to a Beeble in a main set?
Yes, Beebles originated in the main set. There was one card about them, and then they became an unthing immediately afterwards because they were so ridiculous.
Fair enough.
They might have showed them in 2 or 3 cards. The point is that when this happened, demand for Great Ogre Toes skyrocketed. And so this resulted in a bunch of people, the poorer people, hating Asmora because obviously they were getting eaten now, all these monsters. So what she did, or what she's doing apparently, my guess is that whatever she wanted from that demon had to do with immortality, because she's apparently still alive. She's one of the oldest stories, and she's still alive, according to this. And
okay.
She's working on the Underworld Cookbook Volume 2, which
I love it.
Is specifically ways to prepare goblin princes, dwarven counselors, elven aristocrats. The entire idea is eat the rich. Because of the fact that the rich were the only ones that wanted her original cookbook, she's basically punishing them and is finding new ways to cook them for everyone else to eat, like the ogres that she normally would have had, or the gargoyles.
This is my swamp.
That's her story.
That was delightful. All the red ones are delightful.
Her name is longer than her story.
Her story is more delightful than her name. Her name almost killed my best friend.
still have a headache. These next, basically all the other ones for this episode of Multicolor Legends is going to be new characters, new things that were created for the set. So the first one we got is Chatterfang. Chatterfang is the general of the squirrels. And the squirrels, basically, they live in the Umbra Forest. They don't actually say where the Umbra Forest is. They do mention the Ridgeback Mountains, though, so that's important. And also the Orcfire campaign. So you can kind of get like a general idea of where everything is working. But basically, Chatterfang is a veteran and rallies an army of fighting squirrels to fight drakes. And basically, the reason he's got like this in the artwork, you see that he has a necklace of teeth. All those teeth are from drakes. And that is Chatterfang's entire story. That they're a inspiring squirrel general, Jenna Squirrel, and they have drake teeth. They kill drakes. That's it.
All the squirrels in the set support it so well, though. Just like, okay, here's people in his army.
It is worth noting, even though Chatterfang does not have reach, the idea is that you can pay 1 black and sack X squirrels to give a creature plus X minus X. So drakes, which tend to be between 1 and 3 toughness, you can easily, with 3 squirrels, take down any drake you want.
You're literally just throwing squirrels at the drakes.
Yes, he throws the squirrels at the drakes.
Awesome.
This next one is really cool because growing up, I was a huge fan of Greek mythology. So I basically know all the Greek myths that are like, even some that are not so mainstream, like the whole, there's stuff. What's important, though, is that we have this Persephone stand-in of Sythis, the Harvest's Hand. So Sythis was created by Karametra specifically to watch over harvest and threshing grains. And over time, Karametra really, really grew fond of Sythis to the point where she became the advisor and companion to Karametra. Oh. And she considers she refers to Sythis as her daughter. And basically, Sythis just kind of travels across the land doing whatever the gods
searching far and wide.
And so that's her entire deal. That's why you gain a life and draw a card whenever an enchantment gets cast. She's just that full of that much like divine energy that she does that. And so it's cool because they created the daughter of Karametra thing here, like the whole thing with Demeter and Persephone, without actually having to include Erebos or Athreos or any of that stuff that was kind of like problematic for that legend. So I like that. I like that they pulled that off. And she's still a relatively memorable character. Like, it's a character.
Maybe that'll come up next time we go to Theros, though.
It could. It definitely
could be a side plot line.
Next up, we have Yusri, the Fortune's Flame. Literally, okay. They don't give you any story. What I mean by that is that it just says Yusri is neither good nor evil, and plenty of people see him as being one or the other. Because he's capricious. They use the word capricious, Joe. This is literally just a legend version of Capricious Efreet, which was a similar creature from the past. But what's important here is that they just took that creature and made him legendary. They added a bunch of cool bells and whistles to him, but that's who he is in general. If he likes you, awesome. If he doesn't like you, you're in trouble. And that's his entire spiel.
So is this your queen of the set or not that infuriating?
This is not Queen. Spongegar Quee. I don't think there's one. Okay, we'll get to my Queen of the set. That's going to be the last episode as far as legendary lores go for Modern Horizons.
The Queen of the set.
The Queen of the set, which is going to be a surprise, and you don't want to miss it. Trust me. Trust me on this one. You do not want to miss that episode because it's a really good episode. I can guarantee it. And I don't often boast in a more serious sense, but I have a ton of confidence in that episode, and so that's why I'm encouraging everyone that's watching this to watch that episode that hasn't come out yet, because subscribe to see that episode in the future because it's great and I love it, and you'll know it when you see it because you'll have like you'll have mistake on it. It's gonna be great. You'll love it. Next up, we got Lonis or Lonis or Lonis.
Lois.
Lonis is basically like the conspiracy nut of the Simic Guild, which I think is hilarious. So obviously they're a snake elf scouts. So they already have like the mutation thing going on, but they believe that there are things.
They can fly.
They think there are things hidden, Joe, throughout Ravnica that people just don't know about. Things that exist that people turn a blind eye to. And obviously, you'd be thinking he's talking about the Dimir, right? He's not talking about the Dimir, Joe. He's talking about the Noxbur Shroom, the Aulepedosaur, the Lamplight Crab. It's so dumb. I love him. The entire idea is that Lonis believes in all these like super dumb ideas. These things that definitely don't exist. He's like the Mulder of this world kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is great because his card...
Smolder.
Well, here's what's cool. His card investigates. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. So he makes clues. So he, like, every time somebody shows up and he's like, ooh, a clue. Somebody else shows up, ooh, a clue. And so this whole time, he's seeing all these clues manifesting just from people showing up. And he's thinking he's on the verge of something. And here's what's the crazy part. You tap him, you sack X clues, and target opponent reveal the top X cards of the library. You put a non-land permanent card with a mana value of X or less into play under your control. So basically he's right. Because he's seeing all these clues where it's just clue, which obviously you could use to draw. But if you wanted to, you could basically just steal the top card off their deck. And like, obviously sack 10 clues, you're bound to find something. If you sack, Joe, if you sacrifice 15 clues, if somehow Lonis has found so many clues that there are 15 of them in play,
and he'll find Emrakul.
He can find Emrakul. That is insane. He's like, I knew he existed. What's that? Oh, I knew she existed.
Forget that. I might build this as my new fun deck. This sounds hilarious. I love it.
He is blue-green, so that's worth taking note. There's a ton of stuff in clues for blue-green.
There is. And use a Jace.
Like, I love him. He's so dumb. He's such a dumb goo.
Reminds me of that one from Commander Legends. What was he that he was saying that something was uprising, but he was right?
Oh, yes. He was also blue-green. I guess blue-green isn't just the wallflower. It's also the paranoid conspiracy theorist.
Paranoid conspiracy theorist, because both of them have been right.
Okay, so I'm both furious and amused by Grist. And disturbed. Definitely want to say disturbed, for sure.
Oh, check out that artwork.
So, Grist the Hunger Tide is a planeswalker, and it's basically a little insect. It's most likely a single insect that somehow is connected to the rest of its hive mind kind of thing. And that's basically just from inference. Because the only thing, Joe, the only thing we have about Grist, as far as story goes, is the Song of Grist. The hunger tide sweeps across the land, calling us forth from slumber. A great noise shall rise from the earth as many maize crowd for sustenance. Countless wings will darken. The skies and famine's teeth shall strip the flesh from the bones of the world. Let all this and more come to pass, that our children may partake of the endless feast. That our children may partake of the endless feast.
Feast.
First off, none of that rhymed. That was a terrible song. Second, I think the bug wrote it. That's my guess.
So we don't know anything more. We don't know if it's like the queen or if it just the hive follows it because it has the spark. Or
you know what? I'm going to type in Grist's name real quick. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see. Is there anything else about Grist? Because as far as I know...
It's really odd that we don't have anything else on Grist.
Okay, so there's a wiki, right? There's the MTG wiki.
Grist wiki.
Grist is known as the Hunger Tide. Planeswalker from undisclosed plane. Grist is an insect, possibly a collective conscience of a swarm of locust-like insects. The Song of Grist is then pasted in here. That's it. They had less information than I already gave. It was basically the exact same thing. But that's Grist. But let's talk about a bug with personality, shall we? Like a real bug. Real bug of genius to round it all out. Much like how the monocolored had Caldra at the end of it, even though they were colorless. This next one, Zabaz, technically multicolored because of the red and the white. Zabaz the Glimmer Wasp. Zabaz is the sound this insect makes as it goes through the Glimmer Void. That's Zabaz.
Zabaz.
It feeds on the energy around Mirrodin, and it becomes more strong and more clever, and it becomes more belligerent. It's basically like a wasp, like an angry wasp. And it'll bite or slash anyone who annoys it or pursues it. And so that's literally just it. It'll keep attacking people. Like, it'll chase after people that go into its territory. And the only other being as bad as them, as Zabaz, is a thing named Chikik, which is an ant-like being that dwells among the bladed grass of the Razor Fields.
Do we have a card for that one?
No.
Oh.
That's it. Now,
Modern Horizons 3, we get Chikik.
I will say, Zabaz has Modular 1. The only cards with Modular 1, really, are Arcbound. The Arcbound creatures are the most common things that have Modular. So because of that, you can assume that this Glimmer Wasp is an Arcbound creature, and as a result, I was inspired to write a story that includes Zabaz alongside Caldra. You will get to see it later on after this thing, like I said, mentioned in the past.
Neat.
Joe, take it away.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like the multicolored legends, leave us a like on this video and subscribe to catch whatever we have next episode.
Wahoo!
It is more legendary lore.
It's as Mori...
As Povich.
Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar.
Mine sounded less strokey.